Hello friends. This is the English version of this video. For the Filipino version, please check the comment section for the link. In this video we are going to discuss the transit or connecting flight rules in major airports of the world, as of November 1, 2022. We are going to help you find the answer to the following questions. First, very important and frequently asked question, do you need an Rt-Pcr test when transiting through these airports? Our focus is on major international transit hubs like Dubai, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Incheon in Seoul, Kuala Lumpur, Taiwan, Doha, Hanoi, Canada, Jeddah, Riyadh, Fukuoka, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, Bahrain, Bangkok, Istanbul and airports in the European Union. Is vaccination a requirement to transit through these airports? We all know that during the peak of the pandemic, countries have scrambled to implement the tightest of protocols at their borders. The question today is, do you need additional documents to transit through these airports? We know that some of these countries like Thailand has required a transit visa during the pandemic. But now that Thailand removed all COVID restrictions, do you still need a transit visa? How about the other airports listed here? To understand whether who requires a transit visa, we have to discuss how long are you allowed to stay in these airports during a transit without a visa? As of today, are you allowed to claim your luggage or clear the immigration during your transit? Now that most of the world's countries have dropped their mask mandates, which countries still require passengers to wear the masks at all times within the airport premises? Near the end of the video, we will give some tips for those of you who will have their first connecting flight. And even to those of you who have not traveled for quite a long time, so be sure to watch the video till the end to get all these information. But before we proceed, we would like to thank those of you who are tirelessly pressing that like button. Thank you to our dear subscribers, and welcome to the new subscribers. Please don't forget to hit that notification bell because we are going to give you more updates soon. Special thanks to our channel sponsors. Let's begin by defining what the word transiting means. Transiting is when you pass through one country on the way to your final destination. Is your transit or connecting flight in one of these airports? If yes, then you could probably be wondering if you still need an Rt-Pcr test when transiting through these airports. As of today, for these transit airports, fortunately, the rules are not that complicated anymore, compared to how it was several months ago. The answer depends on whether your final destination requires it or not. For example, if your destination is the Philippines, and you are not required to present an Rt-Pcr test, because you are fully vaccinated, then you will not be asked to present it during your transit. But if your country of destination requires you to have it, then you will be asked to present it during your transit, otherwise you will be sent back to your airport of origin. Again, to confirm to you, as of today, all these transit airports will not require you to present it if it is not required by your final destination. Next question, is vaccination a requirement to transit through these airports? The concept is the same. It depends on whether your final destination requires it or not. At these transit airports, if it is not required by your final destination, then it will not be asked from you during your transit. For our next few questions, do you need additional documents to transit through these airports? Are you allowed to claim your luggage or clear the immigration during your transit? This was not possible several months ago. But is it still the case today? Fortunately, not anymore. A lot of countries have started to go back to the pre-pandemic requirements. And during the pre-pandemic times, the common question is only about the transit visa. Do you need a transit visa when transiting through these airports? And for you to be able to answer your question, let us guide you by presenting these points. During your transit, will you be leaving the airport premises? What do we mean by leaving the airport premises? A classic example is, if you go out of the airport to visit the city itself. The other one is, if you are forced to go out of the airport to claim your baggage and recheck it in, because your flight is not in a continuous flight ticket or itinerary. By doing so, you will pass through the immigration. And passing through an immigration means you are technically entering that country. Now if you enter the country, the question is, are you a visa-free national to that country? Or are you a citizen of that country or resident of that country? If yes, then of course you do not need a transit visa. But if you don't fall into any of that category, and you are forced to pass through immigration, most likely answer is you have to secure a transit visa. For example, if you are a Filipino citizen, and you have a transit in Japan, if you enter via Tokyo Narita and transfer in Tokyo Haneda, these airports are not connected. You will have to enter Japan by clearing the immigration. And because Philippines does not have visa-free privilege in Japan, then you will be needing a transit visa. But if you are a US citizen, you are visa-free when entering Japan, so you do not need a transit visa to do this transfer. Another example, if you have a transit in Malaysia, if you enter via Kuala Lumpur Airport Terminal 1, and your next flight is Kuala Lumpur Airport Terminal 2, you have to clear the immigration and claim your baggage because these two terminals are not connected. Now, Malaysia, as of today, has removed their COVID-related restrictions. And because Philippine passport holders have a 30-day visa-free privilege in Malaysia, then you will not need a transit visa. One tip: if you are staying for a long period of time in some airports, there are airlines like Emirates that provides a free transit hotel for you to stay in. Be sure to check if you are eligible to such privilege. That brings us to the next question: how long are you allowed to stay in these airports during a transit without a visa? The general rule is that your transit must be within 24 hours of your arrival. Of course, this does not apply to citizens and residents because they can stay indefinitely in their own country, and for visa-free nationals, you can enjoy your visa-free privilege. There are airports that provides very specific time in their websites. For instance, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, Doha, Hanoi, Canada, Kuwait, Bahrain, Bangkok, Istanbul, and European Union countries specifically mention that if you are a non-citizen or resident, and without visa-free privileges, your limit is 24 hours of transit time from the time of arrival. In Saudi Arabia, it is 12 hours. I repeat, if you are citizen or resident of those countries, this does not apply to you. Meanwhile, the other airports do not specify in their websites the maximum allowed time, but it would be safe to assume that the limit is 24 hours. It is always best to check your airline websites. Another big question: is mask wearing required during transit in these airports? Most of these countries claim to have removed most of their COVID-related restrictions. But unfortunately, majority of them have retained their mask mandates. In Tokyo, Hong Kong, Seoul, Taiwan, Doha, Hanoi, Fukuoka, Kuwait, Bahrain, Bangkok, it is still mandatory to wear a mask at all times while you are in their airport premises. For Dubai, Kuala Lumpur, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Istanbul, wearing of mask is now optional. But if it is required by your airline, then you still have to bring your mask. In the European Union, the mask mandate has been scrapped, but some countries have retained their mask mandates for public transportation, including at the airports. In Austria, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Estonia, Germany, Greece, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, the Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain, you are still required to wear a mask at the airport. For the rest of the EU, it is now optional. But then you have to check your airline if they require you to bring a mask inside their aircraft. So, to be on the safe side, we advise you to bring your masks. Besides, if you are going to the Philippines, you are required to wear a mask at the Philippine airports, including when on board aircrafts bound for the Philippines. Now your question is, isn't it in the news that mask is now optional in the Philippines? The answer is that the executive order of the president does not cover the usage of mask in the airports. You still need to wear it at all times within the airport premises in the Philippines. Now, allow us to give some tips for those of you who are first-time passengers in a transit or connecting flight. These are the things you have to take note of. First, comply with all requirements of your final destination. If you are from a country with a not-so-powerful passport like the Philippines, remember that the pandemic is not over yet. It is always safe to purchase tickets within a single itinerary. Avoid booking flights separately, because this would mean you will have to leave the airport, clear immigrations, and subject yourself to so many and ever-changing protocols of different countries. Regularly check all requirements as everything may change. Fourth, know your embassy contact information in your transit country. Lastly, we have a video step-by-step guide how to change planes during your transit. This would be really helpful for those first-timers of connecting flights. Check the link in the comments section. Thanks for watching. If you find this information helpful, please like this video. We also appreciate your comments and feedback. Please consider subscribing to get to see more updates like these. See you on the next update and have a safe flight to the Philippines.